We've got this unique fusion, this blend of performance and range, and we achieve that through our in-house technology. All the technology that underpins the car, the drivetrain technology, a battery pack, a motor, transmission, inverter, and the Wonderbox and the software that glues all that together. That's all in-house, it's all proprietary, and we have incredible efficiency, and that gives performance and range. There's always room for new entries, and don't let's underestimate the market, because this isn't a market for EVs. There's no such thing as an EV market. This is a market for cars, and EVs will penetrate and completely fill that market, that world market for cars. We're starting production from our purpose-built EV plant in Casa Grande in Arizona in the second half of 21. So very soon now.
Hey, I'm Steven and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. So Lucid Motors are nearing production of their first ever vehicle, the Lucid Air. CEO Peter Rawlinson recently spoke with Jim Cramer on CNBC, and in this video, I'll be sharing my thoughts and opinions on the company, including whether or not I think Lucid Motors is even a legitimate company in the first place. Shout out to Nicola. Is Lucid Motors a threat to Tesla? Do they have any special technology? How big could the company get? And am I investing in Lucid stock? So let's get into the video. But first, hey guys, if you'd like to help out the channel and get up to 2 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 1 free stock valued up to $250 just for opening an account. And if you fund your account with $100, you'll get a second free stock valued up to $1,600. Unless you don't like free stocks, that is. And if you're in Australia, the UK or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake also using the link in the description. Let's get back to it.
Look, I've been warning about the SPAC attack for months, especially in the electric vehicle space. But some of these SPAC names are actually worth buying in weakness. Take Churchill Capital 4. That's the special purpose acquisition vehicle that's merging with Lucid Motors. That's an up-and-coming Tesla rival that plans to start producing its gorgeous cars in the second half of the year. This one's got 2 things going for it. Lucid Motors is a legitimate company that will soon have an actual product to sell.
Now, is this a shout out to Nikola Motor Corporation from Jim Cramer, or a more general comment about the EV SPACs? In either case, I find this quite funny, and I tend to agree. It does appear that Lucid actually have a legitimate product, legitimate technology, legitimate plans, legitimate engineers, and a legitimate chance of not going bankrupt within the next 5 years.
I saw it for myself yesterday and was wowed. Plus, Churchill Capital stock has come down a lot. It surged to around 65 before we knew the terms of the deal. Then it got cut in half over the next couple of days when the reality couldn't keep up with Wall Street's irrational exuberance that was stoked by inaccurate news stories about the company's intentions. I think the stock's very enticing at these levels. Do not take it from me. Let's dig deeper with Peter Rawlinson, the CEO and Chief Technical Officer of Lucid Motors, find out where this story's headed. Mr. Rawlinson, welcome back to Mad Money.
Great to be with you, Jim.
All right, so Peter, I took a ride in your car yesterday in the Lucid Air, and I echo many people when I say, how can I get one? When can I get one? Because this is the most exciting technology delivery machine I have come across in years.
Thank you so much. And we're nearly sold out of Dream Edition. We've just got a few reservations left, and our run of 500's very nearly sold out.
So the Lucid Air Dream Edition starts at $169,000. Let's just do some back-of-the-napkin calculations to work out how much revenue is that for Lucid. So let's just call it $170,000 and we'll do it times 500. That's $85 million of revenue on the Dream Edition Lucid Air. To an individual, $85 million is a huge chunk of change, but to a company, this is just a drop in the water. Of course, this is just the Dream Edition, only 500 available for reservation, but it's a good sign that most of these, according to Peter Rawlinson, are actually now filled. And guys, just a cautionary tale, given the proliferation of EV SPACs and the abundance of extremely dumb money out in the stock market, chasing after opportunities, trying to find the next Tesla, etc. One of the easiest ways for scammy companies to lure in dopey investors is to simply tout huge numbers of reservations. For example, Nikola Motor Corporation makes a rendering of a garbage truck, then out of nowhere, suddenly they've got this huge deal for 2,500 of these garbage trucks that have never actually been built yet. Not even a prototype exists, just a pretty picture on somebody's computer screen, and suddenly the company's generated $500 million to $1 billion of revenue in future orders out of thin air. Total joke. And for those of you who are following the Nikola saga, that truck never existed. The orders have since been cancelled. Total vaporware, total scam. Stay the f*** away from that company, in my opinion. Lordstown Motors is another great example, running around touting 100,000 serious orders, which turned out to be non-binding, fully refundable, and even worse than that, Lordstown Motors apparently paid many of their customers to make these non-binding reservations. What in the actual? So the point here, guys, please be very cautious when you hear these companies talking about reservation numbers, etc. Are they non-binding? Are they serious? How serious are they? Did the customer need to put a paid deposit down or not? How did they express interest, etc.? In the case of Lucid, 500, no big deal. I'm not concerned about this. This is not a red flag. This is a good sign. This is reasonable, not ridiculous.
And we've got a very large proportion of our pre-orders for the following Grand Touring version, and our order book is filling very nicely. So roll up or you'll miss out on Dream Edition.
Well, look, I got to tell you, I'm not sure exactly what speed I went and how we slowed down and spun around. Maybe just tell us how quickly, because I think one of the things that's important is we either think you get long-range performance or you get some sort of technology that does not offer that. We often have batteries that go long and the performance is awful. You got them both, right? That's what I saw yesterday.
Indeed, Jim. And we've got this unique fusion, this blend of performance and range. And we achieve that through our in-house technology. All the technology that underpins the car, the drivetrain technology, a battery pack, a motor, transmission, inverter, and the Wonderbox and the software that glues all that together. That's all in-house. It's all proprietary. And we have incredible efficiency, and that gives performance and range.
This is absolutely the right approach. Vertically integrate everything. Build everything that matters in-house. Now, for those of you that don't know, Peter Rawlinson was previously an engineer at Tesla a decade plus ago. So this guy actually understands engineering. Unlike many other automotive CEOs, this gives Lucid a decent leg up.
You're talking about a quick 0 to 60 as well as projected range that's much longer than a large-scale rival?
Indeed, and versions of Lucid Air will achieve over 500 miles range on an estimated EPA cycle.
If Lucid can actually make it to market with a 500 plus mile electric vehicle before mid-2022 when Tesla's Plaid Plus is released, this will be a phenomenal achievement and a really strong sign that they do have great engineering talent working at the company.
Now, I know that you said you're almost sold out of everything. I mean, if I were to pay $170,000 for a Lucid Air, when would I be able to get mine in 2021?
We're starting production from our purpose-built EV plant in Casa Grande in Arizona in the second half of 21. So very soon now.
So Lucid just a few months away from ramping to volume production on their first vehicle. This is a great sign, although, as we know, production can be hell, so I wish them all the best. It certainly won't be easy. Now,
I think it's important, just in terms of being in our great country, there are a lot of factories that get built, and maybe there's 200 people in them. There's almost no new greenfield factories that put people to work. Tell us about your plant in Arizona.
I'm so excited about it because we've got a great team of associates working there. We're giving them high-tech, great jobs in a great working environment, and we're bringing jobs and employment in high-tech auto industry to the state of Arizona. We've already got several hundred people employed. We'll bring on a second and a third shift as we progress through 2022. And we're already planning for our phase 2 of that plant, the expansion, which we'll implement in 2023, which will take us to a capacity of over 85,000 units per annum.
This is a great insight from Pete in terms of Lucid's goals, aiming for around 85,000 units of production capacity, which does not equal deliveries. There'll be lower actual numbers because there's downtime, repairs, maintenance. You're not always operating 3 shifts a day, etc. But in theory, we've got a bit of an idea of what Lucid is aiming for in the next few years. And just for context, my personal estimates for Tesla's production capacity in 2023, around 2.5 to 3 million units, delivering around 2 to 2.5 million units.
When we bring in the SUV Project Gravity, hopefully in Q3 of 23.
I think it's important for people to understand that unlike a competitor that a lot of people worried about for years and years, the money that you have right now will get you to that expansion that you're talking about.
Indeed, this is an amazing outcome from our merger process with Churchill Capital. We secured $4.5 billion through both the SPAC and the PIPE with an unprecedented array of blue chip investors. And that really secures the future of Lucid. And I mean, this is very interesting because that competitor was only able to secure several hundred million at IPO, and it meant that it had to really look for fresh injections of capital many times. And with this capital, we secure our future well into 2023. We can implement phase 2 of the factory in Arizona. We can add, more than 2,500 hourly and salaried manufacturing employees. We can bring all 4 trim levels of Lucid Air into production, and we can get Project Gravity well along the path to production with prototypes built and a lot of testing under our belt. And then there's the sales and service and R&D activities that we have got a very clear runway with the security of funding. We're in a very, very healthy position.
$4.5 billion certainly is plenty of cushion to give Lucid a strong foundation to ramp production of their first vehicle, unless they have so many disasters along the way that they can't even make it without going to market again. I rate that as a low but possible outcome. I think that they'll probably get to volume production now. This is a really good sign. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier in this video, there's a lot of money in the market now just looking for the next Tesla. So I don't think too many of these EV SPACs, if they have reasonable technology and a reasonable product, are going to have a huge amount of trouble at this point actually getting capital required to ramp their first vehicle as well. So I don't think Lucid's going to be unique in this case, presuming of course that the other companies also have decent technology, decent product, etc., and a decent plan. But this also is the stage that the DNA of these companies is being formed. So just be mindful. Companies like Tesla, who really had to claw tooth and nail and be as resourceful as possible, make every penny go as far as it possibly could, save as much money as they possibly could, everywhere they possibly could. That's permeated and infused into the DNA of the culture of a company like Tesla now. They're a lean, mean, efficient machine, whereas companies like Lucid and some of these other EV SPACs, if they're literally having billions of dollars thrown at them in the early days, this could, over the long term, actually have negative consequences to the culture within the company. Of course, I'm not saying this is definite, but something to just be mindful of. I find that a lot of companies that early in their life really had to scrap just to stay alive tend to keep that within their culture a lot more than companies that had a really cushy start.
You and I both know that the internal combustion engine is a dinosaur. You also know that you and I know that the demand for cars like Lucid are big. Let's say an Apple were to come in. Would Lucid have problems selling cars if the great Apple came in?
Well, there's always room for new entries. And don't let's underestimate the market, because this isn't a market for EVs. There's no such thing as an EV market. This is a market for cars, and EVs will penetrate and completely fill that market, that world market for cars. So I'd welcome the competition from a company like Apple, but ultimately, this is a technology race. Tesla recognizes that, and Lucid recognizes that. And I think that's what differentiates so many of the traditional car companies. They buy parts off the shelf. They take a commoditized approach to this. Lucid doesn't. It's all in-house developed, designed, engineered, and manufactured. Vertically integrate your core IP. Only Tesla does that today.
Absolutely agree here. To win this race, it really is a technology race. You've got to vertically integrate everything. All of the core engineering has to be done in-house. This technology is still early and evolving rapidly. Those who bring this stuff in-house and really push the envelope forward will be successful in building electric vehicles over the next decade or so. Lucid have the right plan. Of course, they're still very early days. As I talked about the forecast earlier, in a couple of years, Lucid aiming for production capacity of around 85,000 units. I'm expecting that to be about 4% of what Tesla is doing at the time in 2023. So they're still carving out a small but reasonable niche here, a company that will easily do a few $1 billion a year in revenue in a few years' time, presuming they're still in business at that point and actually have ramped their vehicles to volume. But in my opinion, Lucid is not a threat to Tesla. Over the long term, certainly they're going to try to push the cost of their technology down into more of the mass market, and I'm sure that they'll be able to carve up a decent enough slice when you don't consider the fact that there's companies like Tesla that in my opinion are going to utterly dominate. And for the record, I don't think Lucid is a scam. I don't think their products are vaporware. That's not to say that they can't fail, they can't go bankrupt. That's a very real possibility. Remember, getting to volume production is an almost impossible task, so it's yet to be seen whether Lucid can even achieve this feat. But I think they're a genuine company. I think they're trying their best. I think they've got a good strategy. I think starting at the absolute high end of the market, they're a level above the Tesla Model S Plaid Plus. So Lucid isn't competing with Tesla, which is a good strategy because good luck competing with Tesla. You know, a Tesla buyer is somebody who wants the best tech, the best specs, the best safety, the best. The Lucid buyer is somebody who wants luxury, opulence, maybe even status. The kind of buyer who's so discerning that they will actually care if the stitching in the seats is made of woolly mammoth pubes, or if unicorn tears are used for the wiper fluid, whereas most consumers don't really care about that sort of stuff. So is Lucid Motors a legitimate company? Looks like it. Are they a threat to Tesla? No fucking chance. Now, that's not to say that they can't carve out a small and meaningful niche, do volumes in the tens or even hundreds of thousands of vehicles per year. Maybe even in a decade's time, they could be even doing 1 million plus vehicles per year. But Tesla has won the decade in a serious way. They're set to take an outsized share of the EV market, and I don't see Lucid as any threat whatsoever to Tesla. As I said, competing in different segments, Tesla's going down to the mass market and they've already won this battle. Lucid's just aiming for a very different type of customer, and I think that's a smart strategy. Does Lucid have any special technology? Still remains to be seen, but it does seem like they have competent engineers based on the specs that have been announced for their vehicles. It seems like they're on the right path and probably miles ahead of every legacy automotive manufacturer. And am I investing in Lucid stock? Nope, still all in on Tesla. Now, I'm not a hater. I don't think that there's anything intrinsically wrong with this company. However, when I see Tesla, what they're doing, it's like a cluster of unicorn companies just changing everything, accelerating their lead, just absolutely dominating. Why on earth would I personally be investing in a company like Lucid when I don't see the same evidence or the track record or the trajectory? That's just how I roll. It's not to say that you can't make money investing in Lucid stock. It's just to say that I'm not going to invest in number 2, 3, 7 or 25 when number 1 is quite clearly, obviously, number 1. And that, of course, is Tesla. I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments below. What do you think of Lucid? Could they be a genuine threat to Tesla? What do you think of Lucid's products? What do you think of the company? And what do you think of Lucid stock? I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. And don't forget, if you'd like to help out the channel and get up to 2 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 1 free stock valued up to $250 just for opening an account. And if you fund your account with $100, you'll get a second free stock valued up to $1,600. And if you're in Australia, the UK or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake also using the link in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. I read all your comments. P.S. If you're still watching, you're awesome. If you'd like early access, exclusive videos, regular Q&As, our private Discord server and more, consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem so I can keep creating content for you guys. There's a link in the description. You can now also become a member of the channel for some exclusive perks. To learn more, click the join button next to subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merch store. Either way, the best form of support is you being here and watching, so thanks again.